Askreddit asks, what food made you think how the frick did our ancestors found out this was edible?
The fruit of the gimpy plant. It is also known as the suicide plant because its sting is so painful that there have been reports of people and animals killing themselves to escape the pain, which can last for days or even years. The sting is delivered by tiny hairs that cover the whole plant. Yet someone was able to discover that if you painstakingly remove each hair from the fruit, it is edible.
The cassava, however, cassava is poisonous unless it is peeled and thoroughly cooked. If it is eaten raw or prepared incorrectly, one of its chemical constituents will be attacked by digestive enzymes and give off the deadly poison cyanide. As little as 2 cassava roots can contain a fatal dose. Same with the cashew. How many people had to die before we had our delicious curved nut snack?
2 cassavas can feed a small family.
Some mushrooms that require special preparation. Eat it raw or cook it like most other shrooms and you end up dead. Boil it 3 to 5 times however, and it's fine. Edit. An example of a mushroom requiring this procedure is Gyrometra esculenta. Also my most upvoted comment is now about mushrooms, also rip my inbox.
Okay, so boiling it once didn't work. And boiling it twice didn't work. But what if? And just hear me out. We tried boiling it a 3rd time?
Live fish. Or lutefisk, don't get me wrong. I love the stuff but man. First you go get a fish. Then you let it hang on a stick for months to dry out. Then you put it in water for a couple days. Then you put it in water with lye for another couple days. Then you put it in pure water again and then you cook it and eat it.
Cashews. First, they come from a drupe that grows out of a false fruit called the cashew apple. So right off the bat, you'd never guess that it would be the part you'd eat. Cashew apples look kind of like a cross between an apple and a red bell pepper, just with a big, ugly dark brownish cashew in place of a stem. Second, the shells of cashew drupes contain a substance that causes rashes and chemical burns on skin. So before you can even think of eating a cashew seed, which is what cashew nuts actually are, it has to go through a multi-step steaming and roasting process, just to totally burn off all the irritants.
Wait, but I buy raw cashews all the time.
Are they actually not raw then?
Puffer fish. Only a small part of the fish is edible and the rest is deadly poisonous. So how did they find out which bit was edible? Trial and error.
Probably watching various other animals only eat that part.
Not just that, but the poison's location changes depending on the season as well. Source: URL redacted.
Once you realize how rare food really is in the wild for every 365 days, it makes a lot more sense. Starvation and famine was a regular event for most of human history. Lose your own stash of food for a couple days and you'll eat all sorts of things.
I can't remember the exact quote, but in some Michael Pollan documentary or book he says something to the effect that sugar, salt and fat occur extremely rarely in nature. So our bodies are programmed to want as much of those things as we can get. In our modern world where you have pretty much instant access to all of those things. Boom. Obesity epidemic.
GFW, a few French dudes in a trench found out that we can fry boots and eat them.
Bread. Like how did someone put all the ingredients together to make the bread? Exclamation mark. I think about it all the time. Bro, it's just 3 wheat.
Yeah, there must have been a lot of trial and error involved. But you can see the thought process. They must have gone, look, there's all this grass like literally freaking everywhere. We're hungry. And there's no food about. So what if we took the grass, mash it up with water and stuff, then cook that? Single quote.
Oysters. Someone looked at that snotty looking thing from a shell and thought, yeah, I'm gonna put that in my mouth. Looks just like jellified grey sneezing matter from inside a seashell. Bound to taste salty. Doing it goes. URG. Get me some lemon.
If you're starving and you see an animal eat it, you'll probably eat snot.
Poke salad. The pokeberry, pokeweed plant that grows in the southern US has edible leaves. Sort of. If you eat them raw, they contain a neurotoxin that will make you extremely sick or more likely kill you. If you cook them, the toxin will still kill you. If you boil them, the toxin will still kill you. So basically someone died after eating this stuff and the friends went, well, maybe if we boil it one more time, died, and someone else went, third time's the charm. However, if you boil them, discard the water, boil again, discard the water, then boil one last time and discard the water again, the leftover cooked plant is sort of edible.
Hackle usually poisonous, unless prepared thus. The traditional method is by gutting and beheading a Greenland or sleeper shark and placing it in a shallow hole dug in gravelly sand, with the now clean cavity resting on a small mound of sand. The shark is then covered with sand and gravel, and stones are placed on top of the sand in order to press the shark. In this way the fluids are pressed out of the body. The shark ferments in this fashion for 6 to 12 weeks depending on the season. Following this curing period, the shark is then cut into strips and hung to dry for several months. During this drying period a brown crust will develop, which is removed prior to cutting the shark into small pieces and serving.
Acorns. How hungry one must be to figure out to pound them to powder and leach out the tannins. 3 times.
Came here to say that. At Yosemite, I saw a demonstration of how the locals leached acorns. The process is days long, with many steps. Also, how the hell did Stone Age man discover nixtamalization of corn? If you don't do it, and you rely on corn as a primary food, you get a nasty deficiency disease, pellagra. Closing parenthesis.
Coffee. Can't eat the beans as is, gotta roast them first. Whoops, not yet, gotta grind them. Not quite right yet. Let's pour water over them and drink the water. Let's try using hot water. Perfect.
Yogurt and cheese. It's like first of all they start drinking cow juice from cow titties. Then they save some for later. It goes off. Voila, cheese. Not even just that. Cheese needs rennet from an animal's stomach to turn into cheese. They were storing milk or curds or something in a nasty ass and properly cured goat stomach or something and then decided to eat it when it turned solid. Horsemen, Mongolian IIRC, would have a bladder full of milk strapped to their saddles like a water skin. The churn from a day's worth of riding plus the local microbes equals yogurt.
Chili peppers. Like imagine finding this pepper, taking a bite, and then feeling your entire mouth feel like it is on fire. Then you decide it's actually really good though and start including it into dishes to add spice.
Scrolled way too far down to find this. Consider that hot peppers fail every single edibility test. It irritates the skin, mouth, and bowels. By any survival guide's methods, you should not eat this thing. But we ate that shit anyway. Probably on a dare. Not exactly a food, but cocaine. I saw a show going through the process of making it. All I can think is, how did someone come up with the idea of mix stuff like gasoline and battery acid together and then dry it up to powder they could sniff? How?
That last part is chemistry. The fact that the raw plant has stimulant, feel-good properties was known for long time.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and above all, have an excellent day you wonderful people.